Dillon Gabriel's catastrophic collapse, colliding with Shedeur Sanders' transcendent rise, has forged a storyline no one foresaw. Instantly, it becomes clear this isn't some routine training camp fluctuation. It feels like a coronation moment in Cleveland's quarterback saga that fans have tracked relentlessly since draft night. Today's events delivered everything. If you've monitored Gabriel's meticulous preparation, Sanders' meteoric climb, and the organizational tension building toward an inevitable showdown, this practice became must-see theater. The unraveling began immediately. Gabriel's opening 7-on-7 series descended into a personal nightmare. Multiple sources described him as visibly unsettled from the first snap. His trademark crisp footwork looked hurried and uncertain. The first pass sailed high over his receiver's fingertips. The second arrived late, shoving a wideout into unnecessary traffic. The third ricocheted off a linebacker's helmet, nearly turning into a pick six. Veterans exchanged uneasy glances, while coaches remained stone-faced. Gabriel's expression betrayed it all. Confusion mutating into frustration, confidence evaporating under the sweltering August heat. Insiders insist this wasn't a rough start, but a full-scale breakdown, touching every fundamental. Pre-snap reads, normally razor-sharp, grew hesitant and second-guessed. Protection calls came late or miscommunicated. Even simple checkdowns devolved into adventures. One source bluntly called it the worst session he's had all camp, a brutal verdict given Gabriel's prior consistency throughout summer. When team drills began, his troubles only deepened. On a play-action concept designed to exploit linebacker depth, Gabriel clutched the ball too long before forcing an incompletion to a smothered tight end, while both slot receivers stood wide open underneath. Kevin Stefanski's irritation was visible. Arms crossed, jaw locked. Coordinator Alex Van Pelt tried to calm Gabriel, but nothing worked. The breaking point came in red zone installation, where Gabriel inexplicably missed a wide-open back, leaking to the flat. The mistake itself wasn't catastrophic, but his reaction was. He ripped off his helmet, muttered angrily, and stalked toward the sideline. Teammates tried to console him, but Gabriel waved them off, isolating himself with a tablet, replaying the error obsessively. Meanwhile, just yards away, Sanders delivered the polar opposite: brilliance. The fifth-round rookie approached the same drills with preternatural poise, fulfilling every expectation ownership whispered about him. His pocket presence was veteran caliber. His decisions, crisp, decisive. His ball placement, surgical. Where Gabriel hesitated, Sanders anticipated. Where Gabriel forced, Sanders flowed. The contrast was jarring. Sanders' first red zone series ended in a needle-threading touchdown, back shoulder between a linebacker and safety. The receiver erupted. The offensive line swarmed him. Even defenders nodded in respect. One veteran quarterback was overheard shouting, "That's quarterback one right there!" The momentum shift was palpable, energy surging toward Sanders while Gabriel sat isolated, drowning in frustration. This transcends one practice. It's psychological warfare embedded in quarterback battles. Momentum is everything, built gradually through repetition or destroyed just as quickly through failure. Today captured both arcs in real time. Sanders ascending, Gabriel plummeting. Such divergent paths rarely reverse. Technically, Gabriel's collapse was comprehensive. His footwork grew choppy, his throwing base inconsistent, his release point erratic, wrecking accuracy. Worst of all, his processing speed slowed. Defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz reportedly muttered, "He's thinking instead of reacting." A fatal diagnosis for any quarterback. Sanders conversely showcased the total package scouts envisioned. His deep shots dropped effortlessly into receivers' hands. Intermediate routes hit stride. Even under duress, he escaped or released instantly. Van Pelt even pulled Stefanski aside. The kid's seeing everything perfectly today. High praise rarely given to rookies. And beyond mechanics, leadership separated them further. Sanders' presence in the huddle radiated authentic confidence. Teammates instinctively elevated their energy to match him. Veteran center Ethan Posich remarked, "You can feel when someone's got it." Today, Shedeur had it. Gabriel's frustration, by contrast, infected his unit. Receivers grew tentative. Linemen hesitated. The offense's rhythm dissolved entirely. Their sideline demeanors told the full story. Sanders laughing, encouraging, reviewing successful plays. Gabriel isolated, consumed by mistakes. Sanders maintained an aura of positive energy, despite not monopolizing the first-team repetitions. Gabriel, by contrast, sat isolated, shoulders slumped, barely acknowledging coaches' attempts at encouragement. Body language analysts dissecting the footage would immediately identify the classic signatures of confidence versus doubt. And in a locker room, such visual narratives carry enormous weight. Perception becomes reality with startling speed. Still, no one should assume a linear trajectory from this point forward. Professional sports rarely move in straight lines. Gabriel's history suggests he owns the resilience to rebound. His collegiate career was littered with setbacks, yet he overcame them through diligence and mental toughness. Oklahoma's staff often praised his uncanny ability to recover from poor outings. But the NFL is a different universe. The margin for error narrows to nothing. Competition never pauses. What happened today might end up a temporary stumble, or it could mark the start of a permanent psychological fracture. Only time will answer that. Sanders, meanwhile, faces a new type of pressure. An exceptional practice creates a burden of expectation that demands constant validation. Defensive coordinators will adapt, studying his tendencies and probing for weaknesses. In this league, the adjustment period comes fast, and sustaining brilliance proves more difficult than flashing it once. To complicate matters, ownership's obvious preference for Sanders adds weight. Every mistake will be magnified, every success diminished as expected rather than celebrated. These dynamics test even veteran quarterbacks' mental fortitude. Organizational dynamics have already shifted. Stefanski and his staff must walk a fine line, preserving the integrity of competition while acknowledging an undeniable momentum swing. His post-practice comments will be scrutinized word by word. Does he admit Gabriel struggled? Does he praise Sanders without crowning him? Every phrase will be dissected for hidden meaning. Meanwhile, Andrew Berry watches a substantial personnel investment teeter, while ownership's controversial draft pick looks increasingly vindicated. Tomorrow, when the team reconvenes, Gabriel must attempt a total reset. Mental, mechanical, emotional. No small task after a collapse this comprehensive. Sports psychology insists that confidence is rebuilt through stacked successful repetitions. But those reps are limited with preseason games looming. Every snap now becomes a precious commodity. Can Gabriel find his form before Sanders' momentum becomes unstoppable? This is the defining crossroads of Cleveland's quarterback saga. Veterans in the locker room recognize the significance. Defensive captain Myles Garrett reportedly told reporters, "Competition brings out the truth eventually." Today, truth emerged. A cryptic line, yet its meaning resonated loudly. Cleveland's elite defenders know their championship hopes hinge entirely on quarterback play. They've endured years of rosters wasted by instability at the position. Their patience is wearing thin. The championship window won't remain open forever. Even ownership optics spoke volumes. Jimmy Haslam was in attendance, watching the entire sequence unfold. Sources claim he left immediately after Sanders' final touchdown. face lit with satisfaction. No word to Stefanski, no sympathy toward Gabriel. Just the quiet validation of a draft night gamble looking prophetic. Such optics matter in the political undercurrents of an NFL franchise. Perception shapes decision-making more than most admit. Beyond Berea, the national media machine roared to life. ESPN's Adam Schefter posted cryptic tweets about developments in Cleveland. NFL Network lined up live reports from camp. Reporters from every major outlet descended on Northeast Ohio. The storyline was irresistible, a controversial fifth-round pick outshining a higher draft investment, ownership versus coaching staff, a franchise desperate for stability at football's most important position. Content creators salivate at this kind of drama. It writes itself and generates engagement effortlessly. But with this spotlight comes scrutiny. Gabriel's struggles are no longer a local hiccup. They've become a national talking point. Clips of missed throws, slumped shoulders, and frustrated mutters circulate online. Social media has already turned the debate into a referendum on draft evaluation and organizational judgment. The philosophical divide is clear: developmental patience versus organizational dysfunction. Sanders' supporters emerged emboldened, triumphant. Gabriel's defenders insisted one practice should not define a career. Yet the discourse has already grown predictably toxic, undeniably riveting. Consider the possible outcomes. Scenario 1. Gabriel rebounds tomorrow, restoring competitive equilibrium, if only temporarily. Scenario 2. His struggles persist. Sanders gains more first-team reps, and the momentum shift becomes irreversible. Scenario 3. The coaching staff artificially prolongs the competition, despite the obvious conclusion staring everyone in the face. Each pathway is fraught with challenges. None guarantee a successful season, but today suggested natural selection is accelerating toward its inevitable result. Psychological warfare now takes center stage. Sanders' quiet supporters inside the building, though publicly restrained, feel vindicated. Their quarterback sees the moment. Gabriel's backers, meanwhile, see their investment unraveling in real time. These informal factions subtly influence practice energy, meeting room conversations, and even pregame preparation. Athletes often claim business is detached from personal preference, but reality says otherwise. Humans naturally gravitate toward perceived winners. The ripple effects extend beyond Berea. Defensive coordinators across the league are already circling Cleveland film, recalibrating their scouting depending on which quarterback takes the reins. Personnel executives quietly ponder Gabriel's trade value. Agents adjust client strategies in anticipation of Cleveland's decision-making timeline. One disastrous practice reshaped the ecosystem overnight. For keen observers, Gabriel's implosion stands as a cautionary tale. The NFL often destroys young quarterbacks not through physical deficiencies, but psychological collapse. He has every physical trait required for success, but whether he possesses the mental resilience to recover from this meltdown will decide his trajectory. Sanders' emergence, by contrast, validates an entirely different philosophy. Sometimes, confidence transcends system mastery. Natural leadership outweighs polished mechanics, and intangibles the scouts struggle to measure prove decisive when pressure tightens. Sanders carried himself like a franchise quarterback today. That presence reverberated through teammates, coaches, and even ownership, demonstrating exactly why Jimmy Haslam was smitten on draft night, despite conventional evaluation models. The contractual implications are immense. Gabriel's third-round pedigree once guaranteed him a path to starting reps. Today placed those assumptions in jeopardy. Sanders, as a fifth-rounder, arrived on a prove-it contract, yet he is proving it emphatically. These financial realities ripple into roster construction, salary cap strategy, and long-term negotiations. Quarterback decisions don't live in isolation. They cascade across an organization, shaping multiple seasons and altering championship windows. With preseason games imminent, time has evaporated. The Browns cannot afford lingering uncertainty with a defense built to contend now and an impatient fan base demanding results. Historians may one day point to this practice as the coronation of Sanders, or the day Gabriel found the resolve to mount a stunning rebound. Either way, the stakes have crystallized. The contrast was searing. Gabriel unraveling, helmet ripped off, muttering in isolation, while Sanders delivered a flawless touchdown strike and basked in the celebration of teammates. One quarterback crumbled under the weight of pressure, the other thrived within it. These are the moments that define careers, reshape franchises, and determine championships. The NFL offers no mercy. Development timelines are compressed, patience evaporates, and readiness is prized above potential. Sanders looks ready now. Gabriel may need more time. Time the Browns don't have. Production decides playing time. That is the unforgiving arithmetic of professional sports. Tomorrow's practice is no longer routine. It is must-watch theater. Every throw, every gesture, every sideline interaction will be magnified. What once seemed like a battle destined to stretch through the preseason may already have reached its conclusion. Witnesses described Gabriel's worst practice, colliding with Sanders' finest professional moment. Such convergence is rarely coincidence. Pressure reveals character. Competition unmasks truth. And today in Berea, the truth rang out unmistakably. Dillon Gabriel collapsed spectacularly. Shedeur Sanders ascended magnificently. The Browns' quarterback battle has shifted from who should start to when will the announcement be made. Thank you guys. See you next video.